Okay, you guys, so I wasn't gonna make this video, but I did make this video twice last week. And then I scrapped them both because I just wasn't sure if I was hallucinating or misremembering something, and then I just thought, you know, if I wasn't supposed to make this, if I'm not supposed to make this video, then I'll forget about it. But I didn't forget about it, and it kept on sticking in my craw. So that's why I decided to come to you all as a collective in order to put our minds together to see if this is a Mandela effect or if I am just misremembering things. Because you can't really prove a negative. And that's the only thing I could really do here. But as a matter of fact, and when I think about it, you can't really prove the Mandela effect either. It really is a collective consensus. In other words, how many people remember one thing a certain way and one thing another way. And that's why I think it gives it so much credence, though, because if a bunch of people do remember something one way, then that would indicate to me that there had been a mass change. So what I'm introducing you today is The Last Starfighter, the poster for The Last Starfighter. And it was really strange to me because this is just not the way I remember it, especially with all those geometric shapes on the top of it. And the reason I'm coming to you is because this channel, I should let you guys know, is not just my channel, it's your channel. And we come to things and we decide whether or not we feel things are a Mandela effect. So that's basically why, and that's the only way it should be. So that's why I'm posting this video, because I want to ask you what you remember. And obviously, I'm nobody who can dictate the Mandela effect or what is a Mandela effect and what isn't a Mandela effect. Nobody can. So just know that I'm definitely not trying to convince anybody of anything. And if it turns out that enough people just don't remember this the way I do, or think it's incorrect, then I actually will take this video down. Although, to be fair, I'm going to give it a week, but I will take it down if enough people give me pushback, as long as they're not trolls, and I can usually tell who the trolls are. So that being said, let's just get into it. So I looked up the Last Starfighter poster, and the first image that I came up with was this one. Again, like I was showing you before. And this is just not how I remember it. Now, I do remember him standing alongside the road, but I do remember him being off to the side. And bear in mind, I understand that there can be more than one movie poster, although it felt to me that back in the 80s there wasn't as many incarnations of posters as there are today. But that said, I just always remember the poster as having been different, and I never frankly remember seeing this. I mean, this almost looks, you know, Illuminati-esque with our present day lore of conspiracy theories. That said, I looked up The Last Starfighter on IMDb just to see maybe like it's an anniversary poster or something's going on with that, and come to find out that they're actually both the same poster that I've been looking up being the predominant image associated with this film, and they're both on there. Now, if this was an anniversary poster, I seriously doubt that there would be, or that they would be using this as the main image. And if there were an anniversary edition, I just think that we would see that on here. So that was really weird to me. But I will tell you how I remember the image more specifically, although not exactly. This was the poster that more closely approximates what I remember, although it was lighter, so let me see if I can get a lighter version of that. Oh, here. Yeah, it was more light blue like this. And I remember him and his girlfriend standing along the side of the road, and in some incarnations I just remember it as being him and a red car up next to him, like as if he's just gotten out of his car and he's looking up at the sky. And I remember him looking up towards the left-hand side of the picture. And I remember this because I sat in a producer's office for pretty much 1.5 weeks reading scenes with fellow actors to try and cast an indie film. And I remember staring at this poster all the damn time. I remember going to the video store and seeing essentially this video box. And I remember being really curious about this movie, but somehow I never ended up seeing it. I always meant to rent it. It was always like Teen Wolf. I always meant to rent Teen Wolf, but I never rented it. So I always remember him on the right-hand side of a long road. I do remember a red car there somewhere. And I remember him looking up where he's looking. But what I remember is instead there were lights or a craft up over here. There was never this creature's face. And in my mind and in my school of thought, you never show the alien's face in a movie poster because that takes away half the suspense and the horror of actually going and paying money to see the picture. And the reason that I remember there was no alien's face as well is because when I look at this, I feel incredibly unsettled and scared almost when I look at this image, especially now knowing what we know about shape-shifting reptilians. But back then, I never remember feeling that way. I just remember feeling this sense of awe of looking up at the sky and wondering what is in that craft. What is he looking at? What is up there? Well, if I didn't know, I mean, then I wouldn't be so curious, because apparently what is up there is this hideous being. Which, it's kind of a bad makeup job too, because look, you can see the skin under his eyes. It's kind of creepy. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys think. Now, I know that there are two different schools of thought, like the same with the Fraser Crane Space Needle out the window, that I remember you could see the UFO top, now you can't anymore. And the idea that if you're in Paris and you want to show that somebody is in Paris, you show the Eiffel Tower in full out their window. This is called exposition and expediency, or expediency and exposition, just to get the point across real fast that bam, that's where you are. But on an alternate converse note, for a poster of a movie that you want people to pay to go to see, and you want asses in seats, you don't show the pièce de résistance right away like this. Now, I know that's not true for every movie. Again, I think there are two different schools of thought, but if you look at E.T., the main poster I remember is this one. Just this with the hands touching. I think there were later incarnations of this, but when the movie first came out, you never would have seen the alien's face. They were not going to show it. Star Wars is a little bit different. This is, of course, the poster that I had hanging in my playroom. But Darth Vader is a robot. But then again, as I said, I think there are two different schools of thought. Then we've got Close Encounters. They never would have showed the aliens' faces there. And those were some badass aliens. Oh crap, what did I just do? Oh, I loved this movie. This is one of my absolute favorite sci-fi movies. And then, of course, there are all these different ones. The Thing has his face blocked out. There's E.T., there's aliens, but this is a later incarnation, because if you look, the first incarnation of aliens, the one that came out in 1979, was just this, very plain and simple. You were not going to see the alien's face. And it almost seems to me that the more horrific the face is, the more you're not going to want to see it. Except for E.T. He was cute in a kind of weird, horrific kind of way. But regardless, 80s movies are a trip, man. Especially 80s sci-fi movies. And I loved growing up in the 80s, and I loved the trip of going to the video store, but I'm telling you, on the video box of the last Starfighter, it was always this approximation. And the same thing sitting in that producer's office. And just the feeling of wonder looking up at it. But now I come to see all these different ones, and the new one, again, looks almost 1930s in its sense of uplift, but then just all the geometrical shapes behind it. It's just really fascinating. Anyway, I just want to know what you guys think, what you guys know, what you guys remember. General consensus, we can figure out if this is possibly a Mandela effect or not. I don't know. Again, can't prove a negative, but I just wanted to know what you think. So that's about it. Peace out. Have a great Tuesday.